In every mainline Mario Kart game, the last track of the Nitro selection has consistently been a Rainbow Road. If we take the 8 unique Rainbow Roads and add the 6 remakes of Rainbow Road, we have a grand total of 14 Rainbow Roads. Since there are so many Rainbow Roads in the Mario Kart series, they are definitely not of equal quality. For example, the worst Rainbow Roads usually consist of N64 Rainbow Road due to its lacking difficulty and insane length, as well as the GBA remake of SNES Rainbow Road since it has absolutely no obstacles. However, the ones that are argued to be the best are Wii and 3DS Rainbow Road, since they both have something special that makes them the best of the best. In this video, we will be continuing the history of Rainbow Road, going over the layout, music, obstacles, and finally answering the question of which Rainbow Road is the best of the best. This video will also consist of the first good remake of a Rainbow Road, and we will be going over the changes made to that. So please like and subscribe in order to get future Mario Kart videos, and finally let's continue our journey through the colors of the roads in space. Mario Kart DS, the game with mission mode, custom emblems, and busted snaking. This game also has one of the best set of Nitro courses, with classics like the bright and colorful Waluigi pinball and the mechanical and dynamic tick-tock clock. Among these tracks is Rainbow Road, and this is definitely a welcome addition to the Rainbow Road canon. This version is a lot more simple compared to many other Rainbow Roads in the series, but simple doesn't always mean bad, so let's get into the layout in order to see why. The start of the track has the player getting boosted forward via boost panels on a straightaway. This is a simple yet exciting way to start the track, as you are going at speeds that you will normally not be going at without a huge risk of falling off. After that, you get to a spiral with boost pads, and this is basically a copy and pasted version of the one from Mario Kart Double Dash. I don't have much else to say, as if you want to know more details, just watch the first video if you haven't already. After the spiral, you have a set piece unique to this Rainbow Road, and that is the loop-de-loop. This is an absolutely insane idea, as anti-gravity isn't in the series yet, but they decided to throw this in anyway, and that makes this inclusion amazing. While it does suck to get hit on the loop as it takes a century to recover, this is a set piece that is super cool regardless. After the loop, there are a few turns without much to note other than the fact that the road just ends at one point, and you land at a lower part of the track. After the turns, you will go through another loop, with this one being a corkscrew. This loop is cool for the same reasons as the first one, but this one is different enough where it doesn't feel repetitive. After that, there's one more left turn before the finish line. Like I said earlier, this is a simple track, but it is still very fun. The atmosphere with pipes and stars is nice, and the loops make this track stand out from the other Rainbow Roads in the series. There is one more thing to talk about, and that is the music. And I don't know why, but this is probably the most underrated song of all the Rainbow Road songs. No one really talks about this one, but it's super good. I've been playing this song the entirety of this section, so hopefully you actually heard how good this song is, because this song needs more love. With all of that said, this is an A tier track. The simplicity does keep it from being in the ambitious S tier, but it is still a very solid track. Now, we have gotten to one of the tracks that is considered the best, the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart Wii. This Rainbow Road is unique as the mainline series just got a new space-themed game not too long ago in the form of Mario Galaxy. This is relevant as there are a couple of references to the game, like starbits throughout the track and the Good at Galaxy motif in the song. Speaking of the song, it is very good, but since all the Rainbow Road songs are good, it is kind of in the middle. The earth is also underneath the whole track, and not only does this look cool, but it also makes it so that if you fall off the track, you burn up entering Earth's atmosphere. This is a cool and funny detail as it is exclusive to this track, and I think that this is excellent. Now that the aesthetics have been laid out, let's finally get into the gameplay of the track. The track starts off with a massive slope down with speed boosts for the player to hit, followed by a jump to another section of the track. Since Mario Kart Wii introduced tricking to the series, there was a heavy emphasis on tricking off of ramps, and this becomes very apparent later. After landing on this second section, you then perform a left turn and pass by some speed boosts before getting to another left turn. This is unique as the road is on an angle, which allows there to be a half pipe. Since half pipes were introduced into Mario Kart Wii, the developers wanted to include them in many places as a second option for players. Once you pass the half pipe, there's a wavy road that can give the player an insane amount of tricks. This, once again, is a wonderful place to show off the mechanic and is much cooler than just having boost panels in order to get speed. Once you pass the wavy road, you then have a lot of options. The road ahead has massive holes on the ground, with half pipes being once again an option. You can either drive around the holes, take the half pipes, or with a mushroom, you can jump over the holes. This is very cool as Rainbow Roads usually don't have any shortcuts, so it is nice that the developers found a way to add some to the track. Once you pass the holes, you then get to what is probably the hardest part of the track. Not only does the road become very narrow, but the turns are in insanely awkward angles that make it hard to stay on the track. Obviously, Rainbow Road is supposed to be difficult, but I think this is kind of overdoing it. It does make successfully nailing the turns, however, super satisfying. After nailing the turns, you then take a star launcher to get to another part of the track. Once here, you do a trick that is uniquely enough a half pipe. I don't know why this was done, but it is still cool regardless. You then get to a split path with them both overlapping each other before jumping the player to the final turn on the track. This section is kinda like a curved cylinder as the road isn't completely flat. There are also speed boosts that you could take in order to go faster, but you risk falling off, which is very important as this is the end of the course. Once you finally finish a turn, the track is now over. With how much I have praised this track for its difficulty and execution, this is an S tier track. Not as good as GCN Rainbow Road, but still amazing anyway. Now let's see if the next Rainbow Road in the series can keep the momentum going. We have finally made it to the most grand, large, and spectacular version of Rainbow Road. Actually, we haven't. I'm going to start off by talking about the first remake of a Rainbow Road in the series, SNES Rainbow Road. This version has many differences, with the first one being the addition of many ramps on the track. Since tricking became a mainstay in the series, many retro tracks were remade with tricking in mind in order to get them to blend in with the natural courses of the game and to make the track more fun. There were ramps added at the turn after the first set of thwomps, one right after that of the U-turn, and one on the split path. The second and third ramps mentioned earlier are used as shortcuts, as you can skip a portion of the track without a mushroom, but these cuts are easier if you do have one. The other main change has to do with the thwomps, as many were combined to be one large thwomp. Also, they shake the ground whenever they land on the road, and you can actually trick off with the shockwaves. This is very neat as not only do you want to avoid the thwomps, but you also want to gain as much speed as possible from after the thwomps landing. Other than the addition of coins and the difficulty being more bearable due to 7 controlling a lot better, that is it for changes. I'm gonna give this track a solid B tier. This is a great recreation of the track that added many things, but the track is too basic and simple to be placed any higher. Okay, no more stalling. Let's finally get into the masterpiece that is 3DS Rainbow Road. There are many things that this version does to stand out from the previous iterations in the series, but I think that this is best shown in the layout, so let's finally get into that. You start off the track by doing a turn around a planet, and this is actually the main theme of the track. We will be visiting many more planets later, but this is a nice introduction to the concept. After wrapping around the planet, you then do jumps to sections of the track, and this is pretty fun. Not only are you performing a lot of tricks, but you also are going up, making this even more exciting. Once you reach the top of the ramps, you then jump to a more fragmented section of road, but this time it circles around another planet. This part being fragmented and curved means that there are 2 ways to perform this section. You can drift onto every platform, but you can also trick off of every ramp, but risk falling off. This gives the player a risk versus reward factor, as they can either play it safe, or they can risk it in order to get more speed. After the jumps, you drive straight for a bit before reaching a mushroom. There isn't much to say about this, but the variety is nice. You then get to a wavy road that only waves on the side, not like the Wii version. I think that this was done since the wavy road is like the Wii version later on the track, so they likely didn't want to make this repetitive. Once the first wavy road is passed, you finally reach the first checkpoint of the track. This is one of the things that this track does to differentiate itself from the other versions, which was to have the track be one massive lap. This was a great idea that makes tracks like this one feel so much more alive, like the player is on a journey. Once you pass the checkpoint, you then do a sharp right turn that leads to the first of many massive gliding sections on the track. There isn't anything to hit while gliding, but you get a first in the Rainbow Road series, as you don't drive on a rainbow road. Instead, you drive on a planetary ring with massive divots in it, and this is all really cool. This was the point that the developers realized that they aren't restricted to just a Rainbow Road, and they can do many cool things. We will see this become a lot more apparent in the Mario Kart 8 version of this track, but that is an idea that we will get to later. After a long turn on the ring with boost pads appearing later, you take another glider and glide to a star launcher. This doesn't really add anything, but it is better than just not have it at all. Once you land, you do a few turns with boost pads on the edge. These make the player go faster, which does add a bit of difficulty, as the track isn't really that difficult. Once you pass the turns, you will get to the second wavy road, and this one has massive holes throughout the entirety of it. If you do fall off here, it is okay, as staying on the road or falling off leads you to another major set piece of the track, the moon. This section has many craters for the player to trick off of, and chomp balls that the player needs to dodge. These 2 elements make this section very chaotic and stressful, as you do need to balance speed or safety. After the moon, you pass the second checkpoint and reach section 3. This one starts off by having conveyors on the floor before jumping the player onto a cylinder you drive inside. The cylinder is filled with boost pads the player needs to hit before getting to a section with multiple routes. You can either jump from road to road with many ramps on it, or you can glide over everything and hit star rings that boost your speed while dodging asteroids. This is easily the coolest gliding section, as it lasts the longest and has you maneuvering many different obstacles that make you really feel like you are flying. Once you finally land, you do one more turn, but this isn't just any turn, as it is angled vertically an insane amount. This actually opens up the only shortcut on the track, as you can jump at the right spot and cut off a part of the track. This saves a good amount of time, but it is at the end, so you could throw your race doing this. But once you do one more jump, the track is now over. Considering how much I have yapped about this version, it is apparent that I love this track. It just has so many cool elements that make it a joy to race on and revisit. And with that, this deserves an S tier, at the very top. I don't think anything could top it in my opinion. And that is part 2 of Rainbow Road complete. I love talking about the track, and I find so many things great with the Wii and 7 version of Rainbow Road. There were many other tracks I'd love to talk about in the Mario Kart series, and next time I will cover one of them. So please like and subscribe in order to see me cover these tracks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the racetrack. Goodbye.